colostrum for prosperity.
Agriculture can be categorized into two major forms: the subsistence agriculture and the commercial agriculture. Subsistence part of it is when the farmer does it for his immediate family, and the commercial aspect is when the farmer does it for profit making. On agribusiness, we will be delving into the commercial aspect of agriculture, whereby a farmer does it for profit making. I bid you welcome to Agribusiness on OSRC Television, and I will be talking about how a farmer can cultivate his crop and harvest, and also rearing of animals for profit making. My name is Omolara Sonny. My guest today is the SSA to the Governor on Agriculture, Honorable Rotimi Akinsola. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
So tell us about some of the government policy on agriculture in Ondo State.
Well, when this new administration came up with a matter, Odiroro, our ease. Now, during the executive order, we started with what they call land banking, because I've been talking about the reserves, which is the state reserve. Most farmers feel more comfortable going to reserves and just cutting a piece of land and farming. But it costs down investment. You don't see the quality of investment when you drive yourself into a lonely area where there are no communities to actually enhance whatever you're doing. So along the land banking, we're more focusing on community land, getting community land so we can get investors into those land and bring the community involved in whatever is taking place in agriculture, instead of being isolated in the forest and don't have anything to do with it as if it's a leopard stuff. Our people need to understand business agriculture is like oil. The more you understand, the more you pay attention, the more ideas comes, and the more you actually be able to do something with those products. Different ideas comes. Getting together with people. So community involvement is extremely important. Not everybody can do a JB farm where you load people in their thousands in and you load them out. Imagine that place being in Akotobo or Okchuba, where you have that land and you're feeding that land to the community, and the communities are working there. Once they collect their salary, they walk back into the community. Imagine Yabasira will be selling more rice, rent will be higher, houses will be, in demand. The community will take a different life on its own, on just that agricultural setting, which we don't get now. So it's from moving to that particular set that we can actually see the quantifier of whatever we're doing. We can quantify, this company has invested 1 billion in their company, but look at the community. It's going to double that effect. So other businesses will spring up from that. So that's what we're looking at as agribusiness. But for all that to start, we as a government must be able to actually create the enable environment, give the right people the opportunity for them to set up whatever is needed for the next move.
So these particular policies that you talked about, how have been implemented so that to become a success at the end of the day?
Well, the difference is we have an engine room where it was actually designed and practiced with the efforts of His Excellency, sitting down, planning how to move forward. Like I said, we need land, so we go to land banking. We set up a structure for the senatorial farms, which is 2,000 hectares in each senatorial district, to be managed by private sectors. Those private sectors take an extra 500 hectares from the 2,000. So the state has control of 1,500 for the need of the people in that particular zone, of what is actually competitive edge of what they plant. Some tomato will grow better in an area, while rice will grow better in some area. Cassava will do better in some area, while onions will do better in some area. So competitive advantage in each zones. We have those planted in there by the senatorial district, is controlled by private sector, Our pressure group, which is Osaka, Farmers Congress, those ones have clusters already we're trading with and dealing with. We put them in these circles. They wet those land. They work on them. Those are the senatorial one. Now, we're still, like I said, we're still on the planning of processing. The first attention is to get the state to be as much producers of primary product as possible and keep a minimum production for the state consumption. But the idea is to have as many primary production as possible. Then the next stage after the senatorial farm is what we call cluster farming. This is a stage of large farms in one crop. Lagos State, for example, when talking to the SAPZ for Lagos State, for us to be the anchor for rice, for the south, for the western region, Ondo State will be the anchor for rice for Lagos State rice mill. So we get 5,000 hectares of land, we feed it with our workers, we get it ready, and they offtake. The state not only give his land to the state, the workers are from the state, and the money is going to be made for the state. So we're not just giving our land out to investors, we are also using the land to enhance our workers, to give employment, and to actually service other states that might not want to take land but want produce. So if we have those scattered all over the state, so you can now see the reason why the tractor points are very important. That's why we have to plan the tractor points ready for this to move on. So it is planning. It's a system that has to actually go in line. So it is being controlled by a system. So you can know it's not being spread around. When we do land banking, we can fit our investors in land banking. We know which government land we want to do senatorial farms on. We know which land we want to do cluster farming on. So it's neat, as long as the result is there. So the order is here. We drive everything from here and we spread it out from here. As little as it is, but it will catch on. It will be a template that we can actually show that this is how the state agri sector should actually run.
Okay, so you've mentioned some of these policies. Are there no challenges?
Well, like I said, it's a stage. It's planning. Government is not 100. Government is not a sprint. If you're doing something in government, you have to take your time because you have to go through various agency and department for you to get things done. But we're pushing it to the best of our ability. Where we know we have a deadline, we might not be able to meet this planting season to run with, but we shall help to actually give some certain input in the season. But come next season, we should be ready with the tractors units, with the plantation unit, for us to actually be able to move into the senatorial and the cluster farming. Like I said, it's planning. We have to engage private sector. We have to also engage the government. Like I said, I don't want government control issues when it comes to equipment. So the MOU have to be in a situation where it's lasting. Nobody can drop the ball because it is gear on those equipment that opens up the set of the whole system. If one drops, everything falls in. So we must be ready with equipment for us to engage. So that is the first level. While we're looking for land, we must also get ready to use equipment on those land. We have quite a lot of investors who have applied to come into the state since the beginning of this administration. And it's the race to look for land now that we're running. It's quite a lot of investors are on our table for this.
Okay, so you are the SSA on agriculture to the governor. So what role are you playing to ensure that everything becomes a success?
Well, you can say I'm the coordinator of everything you've been hearing. After His Excellency give his directive, we will go as his voice, hit the road, and put a structure together for it to deliver. The team lead, I have equal people outside the government who help along the way, but we are the drivers. So when you see is the government policy being driven by capable people who actually have the passion to want to be successful in this field. So that's what you have. And I'm sure in the next 6 months, God willing, you come to me again, you will have seen the results of all I'm discussing with you.
So now, talking about agribusiness in Ondo State, do you involve the private sectors at all? What do you do to ensure they also thrive in their businesses?
No, it's been going on. The only difference now, we're not just going to be giving land, which was the input in our stuff as investors. Like I said, we are also going to be using the land under the cluster farming with our people here. We're not just going to be giving land to people. Literally, government is supposed to be an enabling environment. First of all, make sure the structures that agriculture needs is done. We can link our supply line to our market line. Road needs to be constructed from Igbarake area to Akure where the demand is, or to Owo where it's going to be demand. The government is supposed to do road from the farm straight to the city where goods come easy. Improving on market. Those are the things that we're here to actually do. Encouraging investors to come, giving them a soft landing area, and making sure that they're comfortable whenever they come here to do business with us.
I have been with the SSA to the governor on agriculture. Let's quickly take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Agribusiness, your rostrum for prosperity.
Welcome back. We are still watching Agribusiness on OSRC television, and I'm still with the SSA to the governor on agriculture. It's good to still have you here.
Thank you.
So now moving to the next question. Today, agribusiness is an opportunity for people to become prosperous. What structures are being put in place to ensure this?
Well, you're talking about new generation. This generation is a vision generation. You have to be able to show them what has been achieved. Unlike our generation, once we're told, we believe. Maybe they call us Mugu, but these ones are sort of Soke generation. They want to see. So our advice: you go into town and find successful farmers like this gentleman here. Put them on TV, let them talk how they become successful, and give word of encouragement, and let them come to their farms and see how things are set up, so that like I said, the generation we need is younger generation to believe that agriculture is different from mom and pop business. It can make you a millionaire. I'll give you an example. In our agency, we're going to start a program called Adiyero. It's a way we empower every person that participates in that program will come out as a millionaire at the end of that program. It's where we give you like 2,000 chicks a day old. You take care of it. We give you all the inputs. You run it for 6 months with all the necessary off-takers come take it out. At the cycle, we give you another 2 weeks to clean the pen, and the cycle continues. So those are basic issues of getting everybody involved in probably egg production or running boilers. Those are the basic issues. Or you go to your yard, you have cassava. We structure going to have an off-taker. Like here now, we're setting up a Gary processing unit in one of our terriculture there, so we can actually serve our neighborhood with Gary, since we have the machines. So those are the things that we try to get people to come. And we've sent some young ladies to Abeokuta to learn soilless farming. We sent another 30 recently to go. Encourage the youth to get them involved in agriculture. Not just talking about drone. They need to get their leg wet first to actually know what it is before they start talking about drone, basically.
Okay, so now in agribusiness today, what key areas are the most viable for people to invest in?
Cocoa is a special, when we're talking about food security, cocoa is not, basically, it's a rich man game on that level. Basically, cassava, maize, rice, tomato, pepper, onions, those are the things that are going to get from the table farm. You can process, put together, and get quick turnaround market into all those areas. Let's take maize, for example. Once you add value or dry, you increase the price in high volume price. It now becomes consumption for both animals and human. So those are the things you can encourage people to go and do maize farming. Encourage them. The next thing is dryer, or put in a place where it dries, and then you know you're now making money. Fish farming, is a lot of Nigerians get involved in that in the first place. We have dams that people can actually engage if you want to go into agro, into that. But like I said, it is knowing what you want, studying what you want, learning it, and attaching either to training or knowing someone who does it and learn from that. We're here as an empowerment center. We do programs once in a while, but we don't want to teach you what we don't know. So we go practical to most of these things first before we come here and say, okay, we know this, let's do training on this. We're going to be having some training soon from IT on various crops. You know, in those days, most of our crops are absolute. Our cassava, our yam, the new varieties out there that we need to introduce to the system, that we're all learning and bringing into the system. So those are the things that we've been doing here to actually make the agricultural setting into a more progressive and more productive system.
All right, so you mentioned some challenges earlier. Are there some solutions?
Well, water, for example, where you have issues, you need to let your farmers know if you're going to serious farming, you need to be able to do your borehole or water reserve, either water fall. We've been giving allowances for that, which is very, very important for water to actually get that straightened out. On that, the use of fertilizer, which we've been trying to actually step down for people to go natural a bit and find another way to actually use fertilizers to actually do things which actually diminish cost. Feed, for example, we encourage people to actually do maize, soya beans, to start doing their practical feed by themselves instead of relying on outside for feed. Those are the small things that we're adding together in those areas, and government being able to actually advance, get more land for people to actually get involved in farming and get our youth into youth programs, because we actually need them. The farming aging is getting old. We need to encourage them into the new farming, and they need to understand exactly what it is and see it, so that it's not something being forced on them. They need, like I said, the vision generation. They need to see more of these programs are very important on TV, where they meet farmers who are successful, come to talk to them, how they get started, and try and give word of encouragement for them to actually know. So those are the areas that you feel there's going to be a lot of improvement. Just like I told you, it is very difficult to get labor. And who wants to go into the farm? You understand? If you don't make it into glamour business. So we have electric tillers, electric weeders now that you can be proud to hold instead of holding cutlass. You know, so those are areas where government is going to put more emphasis in getting things done. We're making plans in getting federal government set up structures here to fabricate those things, so that farmers can easily have them to actually use.
Okay. So how can you then access government performance on agribusiness?
Yeah, you know, in our areas, it's quite a little bit deadly, because people eat and go to the toilet every day. You understand? So it's judged upon on a daily basis. If egg now shoot up for some reason, we're pointed at. But if egg goes down, we're silent on. So we don't get thank you. It's okay. It's a selfless service. But the issue is, every policy of government is to make things easy for the people. Implementation, yeah, you might have a lot of bottleneck. It's government, you know. Everybody tries to do things and issues. But what His Excellency has done on this particular stage is he has given some approval to do some certain things as an SSA to him. So it makes things easy control for us to be able to see results. That's why I can definitely tell you I'm going to try and do this, is because I've been given the right to actually go there and do that. So I can now put timeline on who I'm talking to on tractors, who I'm talking to on equipment. I can tell you how many investors I'm talking to. I can now tell you, oh, we have 2 teams, 3 teams looking for land banking somewhere, for government project or for an investor's project. So that's just the only difference. It makes things a little bit more seamless to actually get things done. Like I said, give us time. We're in the planning stage. By the time the results start to come out, you will see why those order was actually better to be given that way, because it makes things more controlled on issues. Like I said, agriculture is bigger than the forest. You know, it is everybody's business. It's just like we say, oh, I'm not interested in politics. You cannot, because that word alone is politics. So you can say, agriculture, you're an agronomist. If it comes to push, you will grow something. So we won't get to that stage. So that's why government is creating the environment for food to be able to get to the table seamlessly. Like I said, we haven't done any drive of farmers of new generation in. This is the advantage with driving them in now. Come into the sector. Come to the office, opposite JAM, ask questions. Want to set up with people to assist you or link you with where you can start, or give you like a godfather who may assist you. We started off this program for us to be able to have our youth involved in those things.
All right, thank you very much. But before I let you go, are there some things that you want to mention? Your parting shots now.
Pay attention to the Dirorun sector. It is very important for you to pay attention to Odatiwa movements, where the team of Odatiwa and everything we have in plan for you, you will get it as time comes on. We have quite a lot to actually put on the agri sector for the state. And it's a new beginning. I will pray for everybody to tap into the source so we can all smile all the way to the bank as agronomists. Thank you.
And viewer, that will be all on today's episode of Agribusiness on OSRC Television. Thank you very much for joining us today. It returns next week. My name is Omolara Soni. See you some other time.
Agribusiness, your rostrum for prosperity.